come on in, come on in. I hope you are having a wonderful week. We're halfway through, and welcome to Aries Rose TV. If you are not familiar with me, my name is Aries Rose, and here on this channel, we talk about streaming shows, movies, celebrity, pop culture, politics, a little bit of everything, pretty much anything I'm interested in. I come on and talk with my Aries crew about it, and you know the drill. If you are part of the Aries crew, as you come in, leave hashtag Aries crew. I want to give you a shout out for stopping by and spending some time with me on the live. If you are a first-time watcher, say first-time watcher in the comments. I'm going to give you a shout out as well for stopping by. We have a great lineup for you tonight. Got to get caught up. I had wanted to come on earlier in the week, but I wasn't able to, so I wanted to make sure I still kept all my stories so we can stay up on everything that is going on. So tonight we're going to talk about the helicopter crash that happened in the Hudson River. We're also going to talk a little bit about Wendy Williams. There's an update with her. She's also got a new attorney for her, or she's got a new personal attorney. We're going to talk about that as well. We have Dane, the actor, has released his diagnosis that he recently got. So we're going to talk about what's going on with that situation. And Soldier Boy, he was found liable in a case. So we're going to get a little bit more details on that and how much the plaintiff was awarded. And we're also going to discuss Birdman and Toni Braxton. They are married. So we're going to get into some more details with that. We're going to first start off with the tragic helicopter crash that happened in the Hudson River. So there were 3 adults and 3 children that passed away when their helicopter crashed into the Hudson River. An executive with Siemens Division in Spain and Southwest Europe, Agustin Escobar, and his family were aboard the helicopter. They were in New York for sightseeing. So they were there to visit, and they were on this helicopter trip to see, I want to say it was the Statue of Liberty, maybe some other spots in that area as well. And from what's known at this time, there were eyewitness reports that the helicopter some parts were breaking off as it ended up crashing into the Hudson River. So there is an investigation that's going on right now. So what caused that issue to happen is not known. But from the video clips that you can see from the helicopter crash online, it does appear that there are some parts that broke off. I want to say they called it a rotor. Not very familiar with helicopter parts, but I believe it's the spinning part that helps keep it in the sky, which would explain why it was not able to stay in the sky. But what caused that, we don't know at this time. And the NTSB is conducting an investigation. So they kind of try to rebuild the helicopter, rebuild the scene to see if they can figure out what triggered this to happen so they can learn from it, hopefully train other helicopter pilots to be aware of that or things to look out for, or make recommendations and improvements to make sure that that is a safe form of transportation. There have been calls for helicopter tours to be banned. At this time, there is no ban on that, but there was a question of whether or not the skies should just be for commercial planes or if they should also be for helicopters to take tourists on sightseeing tours as well. This industry is heavily regulated, so they do have to pass safety inspections. They have to make sure the the helicopters are mechanically sound. The pilots have to have so much training, all of that good stuff. So it is still considered, although, this was an accident and there have been several accidents this year involving either airplanes or helicopters, it is still considered a safe way of traveling. And when you think about it, there's accidents that happen every day with vehicles. So it's probably safer, honestly, to fly in a helicopter or plane than it is driving every day. But when these accidents happen in planes or helicopters, they are pretty major. So they stand out a lot more than I think car accidents do. And we're going to take a little pause here. Owen Lee 913, thank you so much for being here. Appreciate you. Vesh, how are you? Thank you so much. And Miles, thank you so much for being here. Victor, appreciate you stopping by. We are talking about the helicopter crash in the Hudson River that recently occurred there. that a family from Spain ended up losing their life. So it was the mom, dad, and their three kids, in addition to the pilot, that all ended up losing their life. Very sad. The children were young. I want to say the oldest was maybe 10 or 11, and the middle child was maybe 6 or 8 years old, and the youngest child was either 4 or 2 years old. Very, very sad for a whole family to be lost in that accident. Sad for the pilot as well. I know he had a family and people that cared about him, but a whole family to go out that way just really tugged at my heart, especially the kids on there. I hope it was fast because I could not imagine being in that situation, knowing what's going to happen and having my children there, and there's nothing I can do about it. Very crushing. So I'm definitely following this case because I want to know what occurred, what happened, and hopefully they can come up with some steps to prevent that in the future. The company that the pilot worked for the that was flying the helicopter, they have stopped operations in New York, which I don't know if they had a good safety track record or not. Honestly, I just heard about them when this crash happened. But the fact that they did stop operations, I do appreciate that because let's make sure and see what's going on here because we don't want any more lives lost. And I think it's important and best for business because I'm sure there will be lawsuits coming that they take a pause and do some reevaluation to make sure that their other pilots are safe and see what they can do to make sure these situations don't happen in the future. And thank you, Victor. Yeah, the whole situation is very tragic and very sad. My heart goes out to everybody that was impacted by this. The pilot, his name is Sean, and I want to say it's like Sean Kesey, but goes by Sean Johnson, and he was a Navy SEAL. And I'm not a military person. I've not been in the military, but I do know a little bit about each branch. And from what I do understand, the Navy SEALs have a very rigorous, stringent training, and not everybody passes that to even come out to say that they are a Navy SEAL. So that's like the most elite that can make it out of there and handle all of that physical, stressful training that they have to go through. You can probably find videos on YouTube about what they have to go through to become a Navy SEAL. So I have no doubt in my mind that this person also took their pilot training just as serious as they took their Navy SEAL training. So I'm, you know, not knowing what occurred, I'm sure the pilot did everything they could. And let's hope that it wasn't an error related to that. And we'll see what goes on with this case. I haven't seen anything more about it, but as there are additional updates, I will definitely come back on and keep that information with the Aries crew. And now we're going to move on to Wendy Williams. So, the talk show host is still trying to get out of her very restrictive conservatorship. So that saga continues. The judge who was assigned to her case, Judge Lisa A. Sokoloff, allegedly told Wendy that there is no hope of her restarting her career. That's a little bit odd to me because I've never heard of a judge telling a person whether or not they'll be able to remain in their career when the reason that they're in a guardianship has nothing to do with her career ability. It was related to her potential, maybe health issues or capacity to be able to make decisions and make sure her money's being managed and she's not being taken advantage of. It didn't hinge on whether or not she could be successful, which she's already proven. She was successful on the radio. She was on the radio back in the 80s, 90s. Oh, thank you so much, Victor. I appreciate you for becoming a part of the Aries crew. And anybody else who'd like to become a part of the Aries crew, we'd love to have you over here. We have fun. Go ahead and hit that subscription button and hit that notification bell so you can find out every time I go live, post videos, shorts, or on the community page. So welcome. Very thankful for that. And so she was mainly in the East Coast. So if you were living in New York around the time of the 90s and early 2000s, you're probably very familiar with Wendy Williams. She was one of the hottest gossip DJs for sure. And then she carried that into a very successful television show. And that's where she kind of fell on my radar. And I started watching her more and following her from her TV show. And I really loved the Wendy Williams show. I was very sad when that show went off the air But I know she was having personal and health challenges that needed to be addressed. And, hopefully in time she'll be able to come back and recapture her throne there because she's definitely one of the queens in her field for sure. But for the judge to say this to her just really makes me question if the judge is impartial, because it just seems like from the comments and the attitude that I've heard that the judge has had towards her, that this judge does not seem very impartial and is more on the side of the guardianship, which, to me is a concern because a judge should be open to hearing both sides and not just leaning more towards one. So, she should have the ability to have a fair shake. And if she does not need to be in this guardianship, she should be released because right now she can't even leave where she's living in an assisted living facility. She cannot leave out of there unless somebody unlocks the door for her. To me, that's crazy. This is a woman in her 60s who, from whenever times I've heard her speaking recently, she still seems to sound like the Wendy Williams that I remember from the show. Now, after her show ended, she did have some challenges and, she had some issues with alcohol, and that's understandable. Her marriage ended because her husband was having an affair on her, and then he had a child with the woman he was having an affair with. And that really, took a toll on her. And who wouldn't be upset by that? If you've been married for over 20 years, they built her career together. I mean, she was the star. She did the work, but he was right there with her through the radio times and helping her get that TV show. So he was also a part of what helped build her success. And they share a child together. So I'm sure there were a lot of emotions and feelings wrapped into that. And, unfortunately, she just had to go through that in front of everybody. But, it's been some years now because that ended up happening around 2022 is when that occurred with her losing the show and the dissolution of her marriage. But she's saying she's better now and she's in a much different place and she is able to, and willing, and her mind is working and everything is going well that way. And she, took some psych tests from what I had seen online and she had passed those tests. So it seems like, she's meeting the marks to say she's on track to be able to take care of herself. So we'll see how things go with that. The judge also accused Wendy's niece, Alex Finney, of leaking information to the media and warned of future sanctions. So it sounds like they're trying to keep things under wraps, which makes me wonder, why are they not allowed to talk about it? If you're doing everything on the up and up, why does it have to stay quiet? Because it's Wendy's story. And if Wendy's comfortable with her daughter or with her niece sharing that, then that should be her decision, not the judges. But we'll see how it goes. And Wendy Williams was recently denied the ability to have a dinner meeting with her new personal lawyer, Joe Tacopina, who was the lawyer for ASAP Rocky, who was recently found not guilty in his case. So Joe Tacopina's profile is definitely raising up because he's had some pretty high profile celebrities that he's done work for on different cases here. And it looks like Wendy Williams was able to secure him. Now, he is not an attorney for her guardianship case, but he has to ask permission from the courts to be added on there. So I'm not sure if he submitted that or not. But I know, trying to see if he can also be a part of that. But as of right now, he's just her personal attorney. But her guardian, Sabrina Morrissey, denied that meeting. However, Wendy was able to go out to a dinner meeting with Don Lemon, his husband, and her niece Alex Finney. So maybe that denial was only based on the fact that Joe is an attorney and they don't want her to have the ability to speak with her attorney and strategize, which I don't believe they have the legal ability to deny her right to meet with her attorney. But I'm not an attorney, so I don't know that 100%. If you are an attorney and you know that, let me know. Can they deny her ability to meet with her attorney at all? And if they can deny it, what basis gives them the ability to deny that? Because I'm thinking, how can she put together a case if they can't even talk about it to be able to figure out what the best steps are or what situations in the law may apply to help her get out of this conservatorship or this guardianship? So we're definitely keeping an eye out on this case, and we will keep you informed as we find out more information. And now let's talk about Eric Dane. So Eric Dane is an actor. I haven't seen him in a while, but I'd say he's about a B, C list actor. He wasn't, up there with Tom Cruise, but he wasn't a Z, D list actor either. And he's recently shared a scary diagnosis. He revealed he has ALS, and ALS stands for amyotrophic lateral sclerosis. The information was shared with People magazine, telling them, I'm grateful to have, quote, I'm grateful to have my loving family by my side as we navigate this next chapter, end quote. His wife is Rebecca Gayhart. And if you remember from back in the day, she was the Noxzema girl. So she did a lot of the Noxzema commercials back, I want to say it was like the 90s. She was pretty popular at that time. Very beautiful woman. So they were, or they are married, and she filed legal docs to request a dismissal of the divorce petition she filed in February of 2018. And if you are not familiar with ALS, let's get some more background on it. And it's commonly known as Lou Gehrig's disease. And I believe Lou Gehrig was a baseball player that it was named after. If you are familiar, let me know if that's correct, but I'm pretty confident that that was the case. And it affects nerve cells in the spinal cord and brain. It gets worse over time and causes loss of muscle control, according to the Mayo Clinic. Sadly, there is no cure for ALS at this time. My heart goes out to him and his family. I hope that they can navigate through this successfully, understanding, he's probably going to have some challenging days and some good days. It would be pretty hard for me if I got that diagnosis, and especially when you're used to having mobility and having control of your body, to be told that that's going to kind of slowly deteriorate, and then you're going to become reliant on other people to do things for you, because there's going to come to a point where you can't do it for yourself. So I truly wish him and his family the best through this, but I appreciate him sharing that, because it does affect different families, different people. And it's good when people share that information, because sometimes when you get these types of diagnosis, you want to hide and you don't want people to know. But it is good to share, because there's somebody that can relate to that, or there's somebody that needs to hear that so that they don't feel shame. These things are out of your control. There's really not anything I'm aware of that you can do to prevent that from happening. So you can't really hold the shame as it being your fault. But I'm sure that doesn't change that feeling when you're the one diagnosed with it. That I know it sucks and it probably doesn't feel good, but definitely prayers to them, and we'll keep track of that story and let you know as updates are available. Next, we're going to go into Soulja Boy. So Soulja Boy was found liable in an SA lawsuit, and the plaintiff was awarded millions. The suit was filed by his ex-personal assistant. The verdict was recently read, and it included millions that are owed in damages. Does not sound good. The jury is considering punitive damages. So on top of what's already been awarded, there's a potential that this plaintiff could be awarded even more. So it's not looking too good for Soulja Boy. I'm not sure if they just did not have a good defense or what the case was. I'm not sure if he's appealing right now or what the status is on that. But as there's more information available regarding that, I'll definitely come and provide an update. For what's known right now, the rapper was found liable for assault and actual battery, along with intentional infliction of emotional distress. The verdict given out was 1.5 million in damages for the actual battery, and an additional 1.325 million was added for the intentional infliction of emotional distress. The woman filed as Jane Doe, so as of right now, her identity is unknown. Soulja Boy and his legal team may be familiar with her identity. However, it's not been publicly disclosed, so that is not known at this time. And the amount that was being sought when the lawsuit was initially filed was 73.5 million in damages for the treatment that was experienced while working side by side with Soulja Boy. That much was not awarded, but definitely walked away with some millions and potentially more on top of that when it comes to the punitive damages. So make sure you stay tuned on the channel here, and we'll let you know as more information becomes available. And if you are here on the live, let me know if you are a part of the Aries crew by saying hashtag Aries crew in the comments. Let me know if you're a first time watcher. Just leave first time watcher in the comments. I want to give you a shout out for stopping by and spending some time here on the live. If you have not already done so, please like the video, share it out. It's a free way to support the channel. It helps us with the algorithm, and it is greatly, greatly appreciated. And if you have not already done so, we'd love to have you a part of the Aries crew. We have fun over here. Just hit that subscription button and hit that notification bell so you can find out every time I go live, post videos, shorts, and on the community page. And our last story for tonight, we're going to talk about Birdman and Toni Braxton. They are married. I'll tell you, my jaw dropped when I saw that. I had no idea they were married. If you are surprised, you're not alone. I did not know they were married either. I had heard about the engagement, but didn't know it kind of went past that. And so they did this very, very quietly because I don't know how Birdman and Toni Braxton were able to slip a marriage under the radar because they are two well-known, popular artists. Toni Braxton is a R&B diva legend. She's got a beautiful voice. I love all her music. Very talented woman. And Birdman was popular in hip hop and rap. He was running Cash Money. That was big in the late 90s and early 2000s. So if you're into that world, you definitely know those two. And I got to tell you, when they first came out as dating, that threw me off because I did not picture Toni Braxton being with Birdman. I just didn't see it. And I didn't see Birdman being with Toni Braxton. They just didn't seem to me like each other's vibe. But that just goes to show you opposites attract, and you never know what people see in each other or what they have in common. Kind of reminds me of like Bobby Brown and Whitney Houston, two people I would not have put together, but they obviously loved each other and were together for a very long time. Those two were married for a long time, despite people not being in favor of their relationship or kind of always dogging on Bobby Brown and talking down on him. They lasted for quite some time and, shared a child together who tragically lost her life a couple years after her mom. That's that story. That tragedy just always hurts me. It hurts me the way Whitney died. It hurts me the way her daughter died. I just wish they could have had a different ending to their stories, but you just pray for their souls to be in peace right now. And we'll just jump back into Toni Braxton and Birdman here. So per TMZ, they're reporting the couple secretly and quietly, and definitely quietly, tied the knot on August 8th, 2024. So about 8 or so months ago, give or take. Toni then filed for a divorce 2 weeks later, and according to the filing, their separation date was listed as August 10th. So I'm going to run that back. They got married on August 8th, and she filed for divorce 2 weeks later, but she marked the separation date as August 10th. That's 2 days after the marriage. That's interesting. That's really fast. And it appears after the couple was married, the relationship was on the rocks, at least per Toni. The reason for the divorce was listed as irretrievably broken. On January 2025, or in January 2025, Toni dismissed the divorce petition, and Birdman signed off on it too. So she is retracting the desire to file for divorce. So as of right now, they are still married. Initially, Birdman proposed to the R&B diva in February of 2018, and shortly after bought a $1 million engagement ring and pricey jewelry pieces. Then came the public split in 2019, which I do remember that. And from there on to the secret marriage in 2024. And here we are today where they're still married. This is the second marriage for Toni Braxton. She was married to the drummer for Mint Condition, Carrie Lewis, and they shared 2 sons together. They were married from 2001 to 2013. I'm not sure if Birdman's been married before, if this is his first marriage. I couldn't find anything on that, but we'll definitely keep you posted on that story. So if there's any more information, any more tea that comes out, we will bring it here to the Aries crew. Thank you so much for watching. That wraps up our show for tonight. We will be back on live tomorrow. We're getting back on track here. So we're going to be live tomorrow night, Friday night, and plan to go live on the weekend as well. I've had an opportunity to see so many amazing movies. So I got a whole backup of movies I got to do a live on. We're going to do a live on The Woman in the Yard. I know I've been saying that, but I will get around to it. Life has been lifing, so bear with me, but it's a really good movie. So we're definitely going to talk about that. Got a chance to see that new movie Drop. That's a really good movie, so we're going to do a review on that. Chance to see Death of a Unicorn, a very quirky movie that I didn't even know I wanted to see until I seen it. So we're going to do a review on that one. Loved it. Also had a chance to see an advanced screening of Sinners with Michael B. Jordan. So stay tuned for my review on that. That movie is fire. Fire, fire, fire. So if you have not already done so, please like the video. Appreciate you so much. Have a wonderful rest of your day, and we will see you tomorrow. Thank you for watching.